Hey, take a look down at the shirt you're wearing. I mean, it seems pretty simple, right? Just a piece of fabric. But what if I told you that behind that simple t-shirt, there's a massive technological revolution brewing? Seriously. Today, we're going to go way beyond just style and trends. We're going to look at how your clothes are getting a serious upgrade, one that's totally rewriting the rules of fashion. So, let's dive right in. All right, so why? Why this huge, massive change all of a sudden? Well, the thing is, the world of fashion is under some serious pressure these days. It has to be faster, it's got to be more connected to you, the person actually buying the clothes, and honestly, it just needs to be a whole lot smarter. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? The journey that t-shirt took? You know, from the first sketch of a design to weaving the actual fabric, all the sewing, and then the whole trip it takes to finally land in your hands? Well, that entire long process, it's about to be completely turned on its head. I mean, you've seen it, right? Trends that change in the blink of an eye, and this growing demand we all have for stuff that feels unique, one of a kind. The old way of making clothes, it just can't hack it anymore. The whole industry is in this global race, and it needs a huge technological leap to even stay in the game. And you know what? That leap, it has a name. And that brings us right to the heart of what we're talking about today. Industry 4.0. Okay, I know it sounds super technical, maybe a little intimidating, but stick with me because this is the engine that's driving this whole revolution. So what in the world is it? Okay, so to really get what the fourth industrial revolution is all about, it helps to do a super quick history lesson on the first three. Right, so the first one, that was all about steam power and mechanical looms. Then the second one brought us electricity and the assembly line. Think Henry Ford. The third one, that's when computers and IT started showing up in factories. And now, here we are in the fourth. This one is all about something called cyber physical systems and the Internet of Things. You've probably heard of IoT. The simplest way to think about it is it's about connecting literally everything. And that's the key right there. Industry 4.0 is all about blurring the lines between the physical world and the digital virtual world. It's this incredible fusion where the actual machines on the factory floor are constantly talking to the software and the networks. And when they can do that, production just becomes unbelievably fast, super flexible, and crazy efficient. And hey, this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept we're talking about. The term itself has actually been around for more than a decade. It was officially coined back in 2011 at a big trade fair in Germany. It started as this grand plan to boost their own industry, but now, phew, it's a full-blown global phenomenon. Okay, so that's the theory, but what does a factory that's actually powered by Industry 4.0 look like in the real world? Let's step inside, kind of pull back the curtain on the smart textile factory of the future and see how all these different pieces actually click together. You know, the best analogy I've heard is to think of a smart factory as a kind of living mechanism. It's pretty cool. Because of the Internet of Things, that IoT we mentioned, every single machine, every little sensor, every device, they're all connected to the same network. They're constantly chattering, sharing information, and making decisions on their own in real time. It's almost like a living, breathing organism that can react and adapt. And this amazing connectivity, it works in two key directions. First, you've got vertical integration. Just think of that as everything inside the factory talking to each other, from the top down and the bottom up. So a tiny sensor on a sewing machine can send a status update straight to the main management software. Then you have horizontal integration. That's the factory talking to the outside world. Imagine it automatically reordering fabric when it's running low, or getting real-time feedback on a new design directly from customers. Now, as you can imagine, all this constant communication creates an absolutely mind-boggling amount of data. And that's where big data comes into play. It's basically the brain of the whole operation. It's often broken down into what they call the 5 Vs. First, you've got volume, just tons and tons of data from everywhere. Then velocity, you have to process it super fast. Variety, it's not just numbers, it's pictures, text, you name it. Veracity, you gotta make sure the data is accurate. And finally, the most important one, value. You turn all that raw data into something useful, like predicting the next huge fashion trend just by analyzing social media. So, what are the results when you put all this automation to work? Honestly, they're staggering. Get this. There's a factory in China using robotic sewing machines that can pump out 800,000 shirts. Not in a month, not in a week, in one day. That's a new shirt every 22 seconds. It's a level of speed and scale that would have sounded like pure science fiction just a few years ago. But listen, it's not just about raw speed. It's about having a whole new toolkit for making clothes. We're talking about cobots. These are collaborative robots that actually work right alongside human employees, folding and packing. Then there's additive manufacturing, 3D printing, which can create these incredibly complex designs, layer by tiny layer. And get this, virtual prototyping. Designers can see exactly how a new dress will fit and move on a digital model, which cuts down on so much waste from physical samples. And it even extends to us. Think about using augmented reality on your phone to try on a jacket without ever leaving your house. All right, so we've looked at the technology, the brains of the smart factory with big data, and the hands with all the new robots and printers. But what does it all add up to? What's the bottom line? Let's talk about the real-world benefits, not just for the companies, but, and this is the important part, for you and me. And the impact is absolutely huge. The numbers really do speak for themselves. We're talking about work efficiency jumping by up to 25%, energy use dropping by around 15%, way less wasted material and unsold inventory, and faster, smarter decision-making. That's all great, but for me, the real game changer, it's that last point, right there, the power to create completely personalized products and services. Now, with all those incredible benefits on the table, you'd think every single apparel company would be scrambling to get on board, right? Well, here's where things get really interesting. Take a look at this number. That 29%? According to the source material, that's the adoption rate for these technologies in Brazil's entire textile sector. And when you put that number into context, it becomes even more clear what's happening. I mean, look at a sector that's always been tech-focused, like computer equipment. They're at a 61% adoption rate. So yeah, compared to that, the textile and apparel industry is, well, it's lagging pretty far behind. So what does this really tell us? It means that this big fashion revolution we've been talking about, it's really just getting started. The source material actually calls it the incipient stage, which is just a fancy way of saying we're in the very, very early days. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of a massive, wide-open field of opportunity. Okay, so this brings us to the big finale, and maybe the most exciting question of all. What does all this tech and data and smart factory stuff actually mean for the clothes that are hanging in your wardrobe right now and the ones you'll buy in the future? It really all boils down to one massive fundamental shift. This is the ultimate goal. We're moving away from the age of mass production, making millions of the exact same t-shirt, and we're heading straight for an era of mass personalization. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Imagine a world where you can get a pair of jeans made to your exact measurements, a dress printed with a pattern that you designed, a jacket with special pockets and features built just for your lifestyle. That's the incredible promise of mass personalization, getting something totally unique made just for you, but with all the speed and efficiency we expect from modern factories. And that, right there, is the future we're stepping into. As these smart factories become the norm, the creative power starts to shift away from the big brands, and it shifts to you. That line between the designer and the customer, it's going to get really, really blurry. So the final question I want to leave you with isn't just about what you're going to wear tomorrow. It's about this. If your clothes could be designed and made just for you, what would you create?